let me talk a bit about, well, let's start with the dancing because that's like the first thing you see. Were you guys versed in this, or is this something where you're like, oh shit, we have to go take professional lessons. This is going to take weeks on end. How did you orchestrate all of that so effectively?
Well, I take bachata. I'm not a professional dancer, but I do dance. I do social dance with bachata, and I got into a little bit, and I kind of noticed that a lot of hand movements were very familiar to what I do in Filipino martial arts. But I knew I couldn't I'm pretty much basic. So when I made the comparison between the dancing and the martial arts, I decided to get some professional dancers at Yari. I forgot the name. Those two dancers you have, basically, they were great. Jessica Rodriguez, who owned the studio where we shot the club scenes, she helped out a lot, and she helped the choreography. Also, one of the guys who played the first one that Danielle kills, his name is Peter Samuel Feliciaga. He introduced me to Jessica, and he also did help with how we could make the bridge between the martial arts and the dancing, and what movements to use. And that's pretty much how it goes. So it's like, with me, I think sociably, I'm not a professional dancer,
Sure.
but you know, if I really had to dance, yes, I would have got like professional work. But I thought like get these two professional dancers who are really good at what they do. One was Eduardo, the other one was Yai, and they were great. They were great together, and it's a lot of what we were trying to do.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, it's the boo-boo. He's actually here. He's at the panel. I'm so excited. He's like roaming around. He's gotten so big. Oh my God.
Oh.
That is too cute. Oh my gosh. So tell me, Danielle, now in terms of the dance sequences, had you had, a lot of training and experience prior to this, or was this something he kind of threw you in and said, okay, we're just going to do this?
Well, I was a professional contemporary ballet dancer for almost 20 years.
Okay.
So the dance aspect of it wasn't new. And then I also, like, my choice now of style to dance is Latin.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Um,
and my husband is Dominican, so it's like embedded in my body now.
How lucky are you? My gosh, that's awesome.
I'll meet this guy too.
Well, and people, I think, mistake, and I'm sure Danielle, you would agree with this, that oftentimes people minimize the effect of dance in movies. Dancing can be a statement, a powerful statement in and of itself. And so I ask both of you, was that your intention, was to push a point with the dancing component as well as the storyline itself?
I mean, for me, one of the things that I fell in love with when Kent approached me about it was the fact that he wanted to show the correlation between dance and martial arts.
Sure.
Because as an actress, I have definitely been studying martial arts and as first camera for a while, and was a martial artist prior, as well as like when I was a kid. And so for me to put the two things that I do together, it was really fun and exciting. And I think that Kent did a great job of tying the two together, but also making a point with both of them, to have the bachata music in the background while we were fighting, and then you cut away to us dancing, and then it goes back to us fighting.
Right.
And I think that the way that all seamlessly happened is like spot on in the fact that it brings a point forward that most people never would touch on.
Well, yes. And, there is a clear connection in my mind, that each dance, whether it's in their job or dancing, there's a bunch of different relationships going on between the two of them.
If you look at the history of it, Bruce Lee was really into cha-cha-cha dancing. In fact, he was a cha-cha dance champion in Hong Kong in 1957. And when he did his first big break movie in Hong Kong, The Big Boss, a lot of the director had a problem with it because Bruce used a different rhythm when it did the martial arts. And all the different martial arts were doing like this one limit. Bruce Lee moved with a cha-cha-cha rhythm, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it was innovative at the time. It was very fast. And the director complained, talked to producers, but the producers saw what Bruce was doing, kept Bruce on, fired the director. There's always been a link between dance and movie, because I think dancers make the best martial arts. For example, Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, he did no martial arts prior to that movie, but then he worked with Benny Jack Gutierrez, who was the fight choreographer for Roadhouse. He worked with Patrick, added music to their fight choreography practice, and Patrick got it, and it went great. And in fact, I know a friend of mine, she used to dance, to perform at this Latin dance club, Cuba Libre. Her name is Stephanie Azari. She danced with this guy named Jason McGuy, and I used to go there to Club City to see them dance. It was great. But she also does mixed martial arts. So there's always, she had a body of a dancer and as a martial artist. So it's kind of like that was part of the reason when I made that blend, because I was, again, like Danielle was saying, I was making that, I was kind of correlating two things I love together, but also knows how to move this, especially the hand movements. Like,
Sure.
I studied Filipino martial arts under my instructor, Bill Brian, who helped with the fight choreography. And every time I used to go to a club and dance bachata, every time I spin someone, I felt like I was going to do a jiu-jitsu move or do a strike move. And I started seeing the flow of that. I started seeing that connection. It's like, well, you know, whatever to my dance, that's why I came up with the story and the idea, you know. And yeah, and Danielle was perfect for the part. She had that dance background. She had that martial arts background. She was perfect. You know, she was actually perfect for the role.
Oh, look at that. Had you guys, I always like to, I get intrigued a bit about learning the past history. Had you guys worked together before, which is why you decided to do this project, or did you just come across each other creatively and decide, yeah, let's do this?
Go for it, Ken.
Well, one of my acting coach was on her Facebook, she was one of her friends, was on his Facebook site.
Okay.
Basically, I saw some of the stuff on Facebook through my friend, my acting coach. He was on Facebook. We were friends on Facebook. I saw her. He was one of her friends. I saw her background, and I decided to contact her. I did a prior version of Waltz a year before for this film festival called 24. We shoot a film in a month or 90 days, something like that. And it just it didn't work. The first version didn't work, and just like we were rushed, it didn't work out. So I wanted to reshoot everything, recast everything, and he was on one of her friends on Facebook.
Sure.
And we started talking. I'm still looking for people. I sent her the script. She liked it, and I was really surprised. Great. And we just I was still talking to a few other people, but she's the one who came through. And she came through with little. This woman came through with little or no money. I made sure every time she came down, I fed her. She wasn't going to leave. She wasn't going to leave this unless I fed her. So, you know, you're getting something to eat. And make sure because she was going from New York, New Jersey to Philadelphia to shoot this. And I was so appreciative of that.
Sure.
And I was so knocked up to see how supportive it was. When we were shooting the club scene, I was a nervous wreck. I had 5 times, my mind was going 5 places at once. And she's going to say, calm down. It's not that bad. Come on, you're good. That's how incredible she is.
Oh, that's so sweet. Listen to that. You know, what I find interesting is how you could take a story. Most people take this for granted, I think. It's words on paper, but they're very magical, powerful words. Then you have to find the right person to project it and put it together. You're another one of those couples during the festival where I say, you know, they match and they mesh and they do it so magically that you wouldn't even think it was work. You know, the way you move in sync with one another, I'm not sure if you noticed that or not, but it's a really dynamic dance that you're doing, you know, and I don't think that's just acting. I think it's just that sensation you get, you know what I mean? When something clicks with someone creatively. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm observing.
Yeah. Well, you work with good talent, and she's great talent. She's a good person, and I recommend it to someone here. That's not something I know it's actors, and you get a good cast of crew together. And then I was blessed. I was really blessed to work with her, to work with my crew, and everybody. Luckily, I wrote a good script. So, wow, I wrote something good for us. And it's just like, when you get the proper support and the proper help and the right people, you know, you'll get it done. And
sure.
I got it done.
Well, and we want to switch back over to Danielle a little bit because I'm always big on talking about what happened prior to this date and time. So tell the folks that will be listening to this who you are outside of being an actor and a mom and a wife, of course. What else do you do creatively, and what's been going on in your world, obviously, because I know where you're located, so things have been a bit chaotic.
Things are chaotic. I mean, before all of this, I was a contemporary ballet dancer for almost 20 years professionally in New York. And when I decided that Broadway wasn't necessarily the direction I wanted to go in, and the contemporary world was starting to struggle financially, I needed an outlet, and I switched over to film and television and started doing acting. And because of my dance background, friends convinced me to start doing movie martial arts. And so that's how I started falling into the martial arts world in the movie business, and basically fell in love with it, and have since then done most of my own stunts, which is also kind of fun until I had a baby. And then it changes a little bit because it gets dangerous. But things for me started to change quickly once I decided to get married and have a family. And so I actually have transitioned into mommy life as I'm a personal trainer on the side of everything else.
Nice.
And I specialize in women's health because I went through a lot of struggles with my pregnancy and just with life in general, transitioning from being super active all the time as a dancer and a martial artist and an actor to finding a new sort of balance in life of being safe and protected to be around for my family. And so since my son's been born, my acting career has been only projects that I feel comfortable with, but also that I want to do because I don't have as much time as I once did. And one of the last projects that I did before actually getting pregnant and having my son was a fan film actually for Mortal Kombat. And it was sort of the epic journey of my martial arts career, hitting like a peak right before I kind of said, okay, it's time for me to take a step back so that I can have a family and be around for my young son without coming home covered in like bruises and, and broken bones and things like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. So since then I've done a lot more like smaller projects that are a lot closer, and I don't have to do too many overnights and things like that so that I can be around. And also I find that as a mom with a young child, I struggle to do darker films now, which is interesting. I have to do more like happy comedy or, and some of it is that I'm a method actor. And so when I'm asked to do a darker film, I dive deep into a dark place.
Right. Now I can't use it as a
can't come home and sing, Wheels on the Bus as easily as I once may have.
I hear you.
So, but that's how things have been for me. And unfortunately with COVID, I haven't done anything since COVID hit. I'm based in New Jersey and New York. We have a small house in Jersey, right over the river. So the world has shut down here and has started to reopen. The film business is starting to start work again. And a lot of us are choosing to not go back right away because it is really dangerous.
Yeah.
People are having to be really inventive with how they're filming things now in a way they may never have before. So it'll be interesting to see the products that are produced during this time, especially because I know Shamar was on earlier and he actually has been filming through the entire pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's had some interesting experiences for sure.
I'll bet.
But I think that the world we're living in right now, the pandemic has hit us and we have to do some different things and we have to think about things differently and how we're going to film. And, we're all on this weird roller coaster right now.
Yes. You bet.
And we have to just kind of figure it out as we go, and maybe it'll go back to normal, maybe it won't, but I think that it's opening some interesting creative doors, and I'm just trying to stay positive and look at things like that where things that we've never tried before, we're going to try.
Absolutely.
And everyone has to be along for the ride.
And, you bring up an interesting point because you've done the stunt doing the stunts themselves. So I have a question to that, and more so for actors that might be watching this, or even directors. When it comes to stunt work in general, if somebody wants to try to start doing their own stunts, there's the obvious, the physicality factor of it. I'm guessing there's some form of mental or psychological preparation that comes into it. But more importantly, is this for the faint at heart? Meaning that, you either have to really love it or hate it, sort of thing. It almost sounds like all or nothing when it comes to the stunt work, because it is dangerous.
Well, one thing I would say, practice. You got to, whatever you do, you got to make sure you got to trust people you work with.
Sure.
And you also got to know, I'm all for like, make sure your actors are safe. And whatever you do, we had a limited budget. And,
Right.
And I didn't want anybody to do anything that could get hurt. Remember Danielle was telling me when I first met her how she worked on a film project. She had to work with this actor, didn't know what she was doing. And you got hit with a stick or something. And I remember saying, like, that's not going to happen on my project.
Sure.
So my instructor, Bill Bryan, is also, he has a fight choreographer background. So did one of the actors, Peter Silva, Simon Lesiaga. We practiced everything. We made sure everybody went over everything. You got to make sure safety's first, but yes, the actors got to be there. The stunt coordinators got to be there. The filmmakers got to be there. And rendition. Because, it's when you see guys when you get higher and higher with a bigger budget, yeah, you got insurance has to be in place. First aid's got to be in place. Nothing is, much of when you film done, nothing's worth somebody getting hurt. And we're not Hong Kong. Although I love Hong Kong action films, but, it's like, you don't want anybody getting hurt. But the fight choreography, if it's going to be as good as we want to be, it works as an actor, but you also got to make sure it's safe and people know what they're doing. You got to trust people you work with. There was one situation worked out where I had one actor, we were supposed to do a fight with Danielle. It didn't quite work out the way we thought it was, and Danielle had some second reservations. So I changed it. So where the point was just as dynamic, and plus the actor she was working with, he got a lot of good screen time with it. And it's got a point across without being like some overbearing fight scene. But more importantly, I didn't want her to get hurt. I didn't want him to get hurt. And I didn't want the property to get hurt. Because one time, something happens, the property gets sued, it'd be a problem. But you can get this stuff done as long as if people show up for the practice, for the rehearsals, and stunt coordinators on point and the actors on point, it should be fine. Things might go wrong, but you gotta make sure that safety is a must,
Absolutely. Well, I want to switch over to the ending because I always keep coming back to that. Or actually, I should say the revelation. I don't want to give away too much, but obviously there is that moment where the inevitable happens, which is at the ending, which is a shock to me, by the way. That is so not what I thought was going to happen. I don't know if that was intentional, but I was like, what? Like, what? So, I've often asked myself in watching and rewatching it, could there have been a different ending? But I concur that you've obviously gone in the right direction. It fits for the story very well. So I was curious to ask, was there ever a moment where there was a reversal and you would have thought, yeah, maybe we should rethink this and end it in a different fashion?
No, I kind of like the surprise. Well, I'm the good guy, so I win, damn it. So, no, I think that was the idea. It's like in that line of work, he went, the character, Michael, went against Type. He did something he wasn't supposed to do, and it was a price to pay for that. But it was going to cost him a lot. This was going to cost him the price of, he's going to lose a partner, and he's going to have everybody come out to kill him. Because at one moment, outside this one shred of humanity he had left, he always had his code. He said he had standards, but the truth of it, he had this 1 ounce of morality that was left there. He didn't kill kids. Like he'll kill a drug dealer, he'll kill a politician, he'll kill someone that's in their line of work. Because like you said, everybody's in this line of work. We all know the deal. That's the way it is. But he has a problem. He's not a butcher. And they gave him a job that he said, wait a minute, that if he had gone through with it, he would have lost his soul. His partner saw, hey, this is a job, you gotta do it. Her idea was, no, I'll be merciful by doing it quickly.
Sure.
And so I don't think there was any other way to go about it. He did have some, I believe he did have some recourse, just like he was going against a party. It wasn't like he was in love with her. They had a bond and a partnership that went deep. She literally was the only one he could trust. Literally in the world, you really can't trust anyone.
Sure.
And he did something, and it's going to haunt him. If I write further stories about him, it's going to haunt him because he probably killed someone who was his other half. They weren't linked romantically, but they were kind of linked. They had a bond, and it's like they got broke because he had one last shred of conscience. and you didn't want to lose it.
Sure.
So I think, I don't know, I guess that's the ending. I mean, Danny, what do you think?
I love the ending because I think it's unexpected to some extent. But I think at the end of the day, as you watch the film, you know something is going to happen and it's going to end one of two ways, or maybe one of three ways. And so I like that it, up until the last second, you don't really you might not even get it at first, even until you start to like see more of the end.
Yes.
And I liked it as the person reading the script, but of course, being the person at the end of the day that that may or may not win and may or may not win the fight. It was interesting as the actor playing the part for sure. But when you read the script on paper, it is 100% perfect, especially with that ending.
Sure.
So I'm sad, of course, to have the ending that I have, but I think it was the right decision.
Absolutely.
I, in my mind, definitely went back and forth a few times when I read it about different endings, even though it wasn't my script to change. As you know, as the actor, you want to understand all the way around, what if kind of thing. And to me, that was the right choice.
You betcha. So I guess I have to ask, at present, the Waltz did its run, of course, and how did it end up doing in terms of awards, screenings, etc. as of now?
Well, we got something Urban Actors Showcase, and last year,
Yeah, New York
it got
City.
nominated. It didn't win anything, but it got nominated. And it's my first film short, so I was just happy to get in there. And I was happy to meet. I met all my heroes at Urban Actors Showcase. I met Michael Jai White. I met Cynthia Rothrock. I met all the good martial arts heroes I met. I saw most of them. I saw some of my martial arts legends. But I was just happy. I met some cool connections, met some great people. Met some great people through Danielle, and I got something out there. I mean, it'd be great if I got an award, but at least it got nominated. People saw it, so I know it's possible, and I'm gonna keep going for it.
Yeah, I think you were nominated for 4 awards, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh my gosh. So sadly, it is now 1:00, which means I have to wrap up with you because I have my feature film. But there is something that I wanted to tell you folks. As you know, of course, because you are a special screening, it always makes me sad when I have to put special screenings on because you don't get the benefit of what everyone else does.
yeah.
But because my name today is Festival Founder, I can break my own rules and I can do as I wish. So this is what I want to leave you with. What I have done is orchestrated a deal with 2 or 3 other partners of mine. So they are actively looking at distributing your film for you. I have also managed to go ahead and find 3 film reviewers and a journalist that are able to review your film and to interview you and put you into print.
That's amazing.
Also off.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's the last day of the festival. I'm infamous for the whole bang, here you go, surprise. So,
Thank you so much.
it was, first of all, I felt terribly because I know that I have stretched myself a bit thin this year in terms of having to be
Lady,
everywhere all the time.
you've done a lot. You've done a lot. I don't know that well, but you've done a lot.
Thank you.
I was bugging you on the phone, but it's just
Stop. You know what? People bug me 24/7, and there's a difference between being bugged for no reason and being bugged because someone has such a passion and a fire. And I have an affinity and a fondness for Danny to begin with, and it was very easy for me to say, you know what, I have the resources. Why be able to not offer it to somebody who clearly wants it? There's no reason not to. So I felt compelled to do that. Of course, obviously, I have to finish the rest of the festival today. I'll get in touch with you all after the fact. You can certainly make it public knowledge if you wish, but I'll wrap it all up in a nice email because I'll have to coordinate you with other people. I want to get this all done so that I can actually have a vacation with my
you deserve
children this
vacation.
weekend.
You do deserve a vacation.
Jack Daniels go nuts, lady.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, and if you get a chance to, I know that you didn't get to meet Michael, my better half here formally, but I'm here to tell you he's responsible for orchestrating these, a lot of the tech stuff involving the screenings and putting everything together, etc. And if you would like, I can have him throw in your trailer for tonight because we're showing a bunch of trailers.
Oh, great. I'll be
happy to show that tonight.
But you'll send me all the stuff on the email.
I will. I absolutely will. You bet. But now I have to formally say, Thank you so much, but I have
Thank
to
you.
brighten up and do my next screening and my next panel. But
Thank you.
this is me sending you love.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for everything, folks.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. Say bye.
Bye, Boo Boo. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, he's so cute.
Oh my God.
You stay here and play with the baby all day, right? Like, that would be so much more fun. But no, I have to go to the party now. But bye, guys. I hope I made your day a little better.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime.